Hello, wealth tycoons. Imagine growing up in the Swedish countryside, far from the nearby city, where farming was your only job. Agunnaryd is a very small village where Ingvar Kamprad was born in 1926. He was born on a farm called Elmtaryd. It was not easy living on the Kamprad farm. It was hard to make ends meet because the land was rough and the crops wouldn't grow. Though it is challenging, yet trouble, on the other hand, can lead to new ideas. And little Ingvar was about to show that. If you don't know what this man did, you need to know that this man is behind creating your favorite IKEA. But it was not a smooth ride. We are going to talk about the story of Ingvar Kamprad in detail. So, stay with us till the end of the video. Let's get started. Most kids who grew up in such a tough place would have spent their time working on the farm or going to school. Not you, Ingvar. The idea for this kid's business was as bright as a farmer's light. When most of us were 5 years old, we were all losing our baby teeth. But Ingvar was already selling matches to his neighbors. You heard that right. 5 years old with a business plan and a suitcase full of matches. It didn't end there though. Ingvar was young, but his mind was always working. He soon figured out that he could make even more money if he bought a lot of matches and then sold each one separately. Smarts. Soon he was not just selling matches. He was also selling pencils, Christmas cards, yard seeds, and anything else he could get his hands on. By the time he was 10, he had his own little company and was learning how to be a businessman by making mistakes. These early businesses were small, but they set the stage for much bigger things to come. Think outside the box, whether it is full of matches or plant seeds. This is what Ingvar did that led to the creation of IKEA, the furniture giant that would take the world by storm. Let's jump ahead to 1943. Ingvar Kamprad is now 17 years old, has just finished school, and is ready to take on the world. For his graduation, Ingvar's father gave him some cash to help him start his own business. He decided it was time to go all in and follow his dreams. But the fact is, IKEA was not always the huge furniture store it is now. Not at all. There was a time when Ingvar sold small things for the home, like pens, picture frames, and watches. Things you'd put in your shopping cart without giving them a second thought. Talking about the well-known name, where did IKEA come from? It's a word after all. The I and K stand for Ingvar Kamprad, which is not a surprise. The E and A honor his roots, which are his family farm in Elmtaryd and his hometown in Agun. IKEA isn't just a name, it's also a part of Ingvar's life story. IKEA didn't even have a physical store at first. It was a mail-order company. For years, Ingvar sent out catalogs full of useful everyday items. People would order things and have them sent right to their homes. It was all very cute and easy. But then there was a big event that changed IKEA from a small catalog business to the huge furniture company it is today. In 1948, only 5 years after starting IKEA, Ingvar had an idea that changed everything. Sweden built a lot of new homes right after World War II. You could see them everywhere. What do people need when they get a new home? Of course, furniture. When Ingvar saw the chance, he added furniture to the IKEA catalog and held his breath. He was not sure if it would work at first. It was just an experiment, but it changed everything. People couldn't get enough of the stylish, low-cost furniture, and IKEA quickly became known as the place to bring house furnishings. This is where the story gets interesting. IKEA was not just a store that sold furniture. They were all about stylish furniture that was not too expensive. There was one big problem, though. Furniture is big and hard to ship, and it was not cheap to move it around. How do you figure that out then? As usual for IKEA, the answer came from a pure, sensible thought. Welcome to the world of flat packs. Someone from IKEA was trying to fit a table into the back of his car one day. The stupid thing wouldn't fit no matter how hard he tried. He probably felt desperate and angry at the time, so he chose to take the table legs off. There you have it. All of a sudden, the table fit exactly in the car. Ingvar, who is always looking for a chance, saw this and had a huge aha moment. What if you could take all of IKEA's furniture apart and pack it flat? It would be cheaper to ship and easy to move. Plus, people could drive their own trucks and take them home. This idea of a flat pack was completely new. Soon IKEA will be able to ship furniture all over the world for a lot less money than it used to cost. No more big, pricey packages. The best part was, people liked it. They could save money on shipping costs and feel like DIY rock stars by putting their new furniture together in their living rooms. It was like a game that had real-world use. This do-it-yourself mentality not only made things easy, but it also became a big part of IKEA's brand. It was not just convenient that the system came in flat packs, it was also a fun task that people loved. As IKEA grew, so did the flat pack idea, which helped the company go from a small Swedish business to a worldwide furniture giant. Today, millions of people around the world have the same IKEA moment, putting together their new purchases and feeling proud of what they've done. One more thing that helped IKEA become famous was the IKEA catalog. This seems pretty normal now, but in the 1950s, it was a huge deal. When Ingvar Kamprad released the first catalog in 1951, it quickly became a must-have for Swedish families. Why not? The catalog was like a magic doorway to cheap home goods at a time when most people, especially those who lived in rural places like Ingvar's hometown, needed easy access to big stores. You could look through the pages and dream about how cozy your future living room will be. It would all be sent right to your door. There's no need to go miles to the next town. If you liked this video so far, you can appreciate our efforts by liking and sharing this video. Your subscription to the channel will be a huge bonus. Coming back to the IKEA, there was a little problem, as there always is with good stories. Many people couldn't believe how cheap IKEA's prices were. They thought, surely this cheap furniture isn't good. A lot of people were skeptical, and Ingvar knew he had to face this head-on if he wanted IKEA to do well. What did he do? Another great business idea came to him out of the blue. Come inside the IKEA store. People could come in and see the furniture, touch it, sit on it, and generally test it out before they ordered it, according to Ingvar. People would be able to see for themselves that cheap doesn't mean bad. It was a great idea. People felt safe in the showrooms, and all of a sudden, IKEA had a strong reputation for stylish, low-cost furniture. IKEA became known for more than just its catalog after that. It was known for making an experience. It wasn't just reading the catalog and making an order. It was going into an IKEA store, seeing the beautifully designed rooms, getting ideas, and realizing that good design didn't have to cost a lot of money. Ingvar's simple idea to show off the furniture worked like a charm, and IKEA was well on its way to becoming the biggest company in the world. If Ingvar Kamprad had had trouble reading, it could have been a problem. Instead, he used it to make IKEA's quirks more interesting. When you have dyslexia, it might be hard for most people to work with numbers and letters, but not Ingvar. He did not have to deal with product codes or long, hard-to-understand numbers. Instead, he came up with a creative way to make IKEA's goods stand out in the best way possible. What did he do? Well, if you have ever been to an IKEA store, you have probably seen the funny names that are on everything from shelves to chairs. Have you heard of the Poäng chair or the Billy bookcase? The names aren't just made up. Ingvar came up with a great system to make things easier for himself. He gave each piece of furniture a name so that he wouldn't have to remember long serial numbers or product codes. The names of big pieces of furniture like chairs and beds are based on Swedish towns and cities. For example, the name of your comfy couch could come from a cute Swedish town you've never heard of. Smaller things like chairs, desks, and other objects get names that sound like men's names, like Billy, Carl, or Ingolf. This was not just a smart way for Ingvar to get around his dyslexia. It became one of the cutest things about IKEA. All of a sudden, the furniture came to life. It was easier for customers to talk about and remember their new Malm bed or lack table than to ask, hey, where's that coffee table? It has the SKU number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This way of calling things not only made things easier for Ingvar and more fun for customers, but it also made IKEA stand out. These little touches, like calling a chair Poäng, made IKEA feel more like a friend rather than just another piece of furniture. Something about that made IKEA stand out from other brands and made it easy to remember. It's not all flat-packed furniture and strange product names in IKEA's history. We all know that IKEA has had some rough spots on its way to becoming the global giant it is today. In the 1950s, there was a big problem that was one of the first problems. Imagine that IKEA's furniture sellers stopped selling to the company. Why? They were so cheap that other stores couldn't compete with IKEA. Basically, Ingvar Kamprad was so good at giving customers stylish furniture at low prices that it was making his suppliers and their other customers worried. If we can't beat IKEA, we'll just refuse to sell to them, they thought. You would think this would have been a huge setback for Ingvar, right? Even though things were tough, he didn't give up. Instead, he did what any forward-thinking business owner would do. He saw the problem as a chance. Ingvar's brave plan: IKEA would start making its furniture. Yes, that is true. IKEA chose to make its products instead of counting on other companies to do it. This choice changed everything. It not only helped IKEA keep its prices very low, but it also gave the company more power over the quality of its goods. IKEA was no longer just a store. It was now a full-fledged furniture maker. This made the business stronger in the market and helped it grow faster than ever. It also didn't hurt that they could now try out different designs and keep improving that magic flat pack formula we all know and enjoy. But there were a few more bumps in IKEA's path to success. In the 1990s, the company was hit with a big scandal that hurt its reputation. It came out that Ingvar Kamprad had been a part of Nazi supporting groups when he was younger. That's not the kind of headline you want for a well-known name around the world. Ingvar quickly said sorry for what he did and said it was the biggest mistake of his life. His apology was sincere, but the scandal hurt IKEA's image and showed that even the biggest companies had bad times back in the past. If that wasn't enough trouble, IKEA got into more trouble in the early 2000s when it was said that it had used forced labor in East Germany during the Cold War. Oh no, IKEA didn't try to hide it. Instead, they paid for an outside review to find out what happened. The company said that they should have known about the forced work at the time, but they didn't. They promised that it would never happen again. Even with these problems, IKEA is still a well-known brand that millions of people love for its cheap furniture and smart designs. The life story of Ingvar Kamprad shows that even the most successful businesses face problems. What matters is how you handle those problems. For IKEA, the company has stayed strong by admitting when it goes wrong and always trying to get better. When we talk about betterment, a lot of people like Ingvar Kamprad have brought their companies back to life with their groundbreaking ideas. Richard Branson is one such charismatic example. You can also check their video on our channel. You can straight go to the video by following the link that might be showing up on the screen. Let's get back to our favorite IKEA. Even though he had some problems, Ingvar Kamprad stayed a strange and well-liked figure. He was known for being very thrifty and living a simple life. As a billionaire, you might expect to have nice cars, private jets, and fancy trips, right? Don't go for Ingvar. This person lived a very simple life. He drove an old beat-up Volvo and flew in economy class. When he traveled, he chose cheap hotels. Even better, he would replace the expensive minibar bottles in his hotel room with ones from the nearby grocery store that were less expensive. Great Ingvar. Ingvar had a simple view. Why waste money that you don't need to? This was not only how he thought at IKEA, it was also how he lived his personal life. He was well known for saying that spending money was almost illegal. He did what he said. Even though he started a multi-billion-dollar business, Ingvar had no trouble living cheaply. He would reuse tea bags and wear used clothes. Some people thought his frugal habits were a great example of how down-to-earth he was, while others thought they were a bit much. However, whether you like it or not, Ingvar's keep it simple way of life was a big part of IKEA's success. IKEA was able to give cheap furniture to people all over the world because he kept his own and the company's costs low. Not only did he want to save money, but he also wanted to make sure that IKEA buyers didn't have to spend more than they had to on stylish, useful furniture. In a world full of flash and glam, Ingvar Kamprad's cheap ways made him a strange but approachable figure. His belief in keeping things simple and cheap has left a permanent mark on both his personal life and IKEA's DNA. If you are wondering, why is IKEA such a big deal? It's not just a store, it's an adventure. When you walk into an IKEA store, it's like going on a trip through a maze of fully furnished rooms that look and feel like big doll houses for grown-ups. With every turn, you see a new design idea for your own space. You can't help but picture how that comfy couch or sleek kitchen cabinet would look in your own home. Along with buying, it's a place to get ideas. Oh, and don't even talk about the food. Swedish meatballs from IKEA are famous all over the world. Lunch isn't just a meal, it's a rest stop on your way to find furniture. You grab a tray, eat those tasty meatballs and maybe a slice of cake, and then you're ready to fight your way through the next part of the store. For the price of 2 throw pillows, where else can you shop and eat a tasty meal? But IKEA is more than just meatballs and winding halls. It stands out because it stays true to its roots. IKEA never changed its goal of making stylish, cheap items that work for everyone, even as it grew into a global giant. IKEA has had its share of problems, But it is the ideal comeback kid because it always finds a way to adapt and do well. Plus, IKEA is also really into being environmentally friendly these days. By using more eco-friendly materials and setting up programs to recycle furniture, they've done a lot to reduce their impact on the earth. IKEA is all about adapting to new times, and as people become more aware of the environment, IKEA is right there, changing with it. At the ripe old age of 91, Ingvar Kamprad passed away in 2018, but his legacy lives on in every IKEA shop you visit. As a child, the man built one of the most famous names in the world from scratch. And let's be honest, it's hard to imagine life without IKEA's famously easy-to-follow and flat-packed wonders. IKEA is now a huge company with stores in more than 50 countries and more than 200,000 employees. However, it has stayed true to Ingvar's original goal of making great designs that everyone can buy, even though it has become a household name. That's what makes it so great. IKEA has something for everyone, whether you live in a small studio room or a big house. But it's not just the low prices that make people keep coming back. It's the whole experience. It's like going on a short adventure or a marathon based on how lost you get when you walk through an IKEA store. You look around at rooms that look like they belong in a design magazine and think about how to add more shelves to your already overcrowded home. Don't forget the Swedish meatballs either. The popular cafeteria at IKEA is almost as well known as its furniture. For after all, what's a shopping trip without a plate of meatballs and mashed potatoes to keep you going? As you try not to lose those tiny screws while putting together a Billy bookcase, know that you're part of a much bigger story. Because of one man's dream, a story that began in a small Swedish town has become famous all over the world. Even though Ingvar Kamprad is no longer with us, his ideas live on, and every time you shop at IKEA, you help to carry on his work. Like we did about Ingvar Kamprad, if you want us to talk about any other business story in our videos, let us know in the comment section below. We will pick your suggestions. If you enjoyed watching the video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you soon in another video.